I'm Jan Blue, and I'm here to talk about this week's High Five Top 5. Today we're going to talk about the events that occurred from 500 BCE to 1500 BCE. Today we're going to start off with the top 5 empires. Starting with number 1, they were the exception, the Mongols.
You are the Mongols.
They were the largest land-based empire. They linked West Europe and China. They consisted of ruthless rulers and had psychological and biological warfare. They were open to safe trade routes between Europe and Asia for the first time. They are number 1 because everyone feared them, and we favored them because they're completely tolerant of all religions. And then number 2, Islam. They had a rapid spread. They were the first religious empire. They conquered many of the most powerful empires, such as Byzantine. They're number 2 because they were less determined and they were not religiously tolerant like the Mongols. Number 3, the Byzantine Empire. They were geographically powerful. They had maritime significance. And they were more centralized in one era rather than most everywhere like the Mongols or Islam. Number 4, the Ottoman Empire. They were able to capture Constantinople. They controlled all of Greece and the Balkan region. Eventually, they took control over Southwest Asia, Southeast Europe, Egypt, and North Africa. At our number 5 is the Inca Empire. They were the most powerful empire in the Americas. They had an extensive network of roads, but obviously they're number 5 because they weren't as powerful as the other empires. Next on our High Fives Top 5 list is rulers. Starting with number 1, the one and only Genghis Khan. He was the most ruthless. He killed the Persian Sultan simply because the Sultan despised the Mongols and refused to trade with them. He rose to power from nothing. He established a foundation for the Mongol Empire. He was the first to unify all Mongol tribes. He created a Mongol army. Without the Mongol army, he clearly couldn't have conquered Eurasia. Next at number 2 is Tamerlane. He expanded the Mongol Empire into Persia all the way to Russia. And he wasn't any greater than Genghis Khan because Genghis Khan was Timur's source of inspiration. Mehmed II. Mehmed the Conqueror, they called him. He conquered and sacked Constantinople and created the capital of Istanbul. He brought the end of the Byzantine Empire and expanded from Southwest Asia all the way to North Africa. Starting at number 4 was Charlemagne. Charlemagne built the imperial state and unified West Europe. He was proclaimed emperor by the Pope. He wasn't greater than Mehmed because Mehmed was able to conquer one of the most powerful empires of the time. And then number 5, Mansa Musa, ruler of the Mali Empire and famous for the Hajj to Mecca. He was extremely rich. His didn't last because he was more of an influential ruler. And he wasn't powerful. He wasn't as powerful as other rulers. Oh look, it's time for the open bag. An open bag to Mehmed II. Oh, let's look into the secret compartment. Oh look, it's a trophy. Props to you, Mehmed II, for doing something meaningful with your life, unlike all these other people in this time period. Next on our High Five Top 5 list is key dates. Starting with 1453, you might be thinking to yourself, what's so important about 1453? It sounds like any ordinary number, but no. It was the year of the Fourth Crusade. Muhammad II conquered Constantinople, leading the fall of the Byzantine Empire. It was ranked number 1 because it would cause the fall of the Ottoman Empire and increase the Islamic influence. Starting number 2, 1096. Palestine was seized. It was the year of the First Crusade. This is the beginning of many conquests of the Crusaders, but it was not at number 1. And then number 3, 1206. Temujin unites the Mongols tribe into a single confederation. The local leaders began calling Temujin Genghis Khan the universal ruler. Starting number 4 at 610, Muhammad had a spiritual experience with one of the true deities, Allah. Muhammad received messages and revelation from the Allah, which were the foundation of the Quran. Starting at number 5, 1054, the Eastern Orthodox Church split from the Roman Catholic. This created many conflicts between the two churches. The Orthodox Church began based on Constantinople, survived until 1453 when the Ottomans took over it. Next on the High Five's top 5 list is people. Starting with number 1, Pope Urban II. He started the Crusades, and he brought the church back into power from southern Italy and created a foundation from the papal monarchy. Starting at number 2, the Vikings. They found North America 500 years before Columbus had named Canada Vinland. They were known as terrifying plunderers and killed many of the monks in the monasteries, since they were easy prey and held a lot of valuables. They were the first explorers of the world. They did not impact much of the world, since they killed whoever they saw. Starting at number 3, the Teutonic Knights. They were the first religious army. They were given the same status as the Knights of Templar. They created hospitals and conquered cities, and they were not as important as Pope Urban II or the Vikings. They were only famous for one thing, and only went on to create crusades because of Pope Urban II. Starting at number 4 with Prince Henry IV. He caused the investiture contest. He started the investiture contest due to going against the papacy and giving the Teutonic Knights exemptions and transactions that the church believed that they only had the right to give. Number 5, Pikachu. Okay, fine, Pakachuti. He was considered the Incan version of Philip of Macedonian. He made the small city into a vast empire and controlled much of what today is modern-day Peru. Next on High Five's top 5 list is catastrophes, starting with number 1, the bubonic plague. It killed 2/3 of Europe's population. It spread very rapidly and started a new type of art. It spread everywhere from China over to Spain and up to Russia and down to North Africa. And then at number 2, the Crusades, which caused a major setback in advantaging technology. A fight for Holy Land that is still a conflict today, which brought some of the Muslim ideas to Europe. And then number 3, the 100-Year War. War between two powerful rulers, France and England. Casualties were very high. The battle from the French Thorn inspired nationalism in Europe and France. Number 4, the fall of the Byzantine Empire, caused by the Crusaders, specifically the Fourth Crusade. It reduced Christian influence in the area greatly, and it led to the rise of the Ottoman Empire, which was Muslim control. It was the end of the eastern side of the Roman Empire. And then last but not least, at number 5, typhoons versus the Mongols. The Mongols were stopped dead in their tracks on their way to Japan. Their expansion was finally stopped somewhere. And this ends our showing of the High Five's top 5 list.